the Celtics would have to pay over $130 million combined to Porzingis, Brown, and Tatum starting in 2024. These three players are the future. They are the future of the Boston Celtics. If Boston does not produce a championship with these three guys, it's going to set the team back for the next couple of years. I am not a huge Jaylen Brown fan because he disappears in the playoffs. He's done it before. And so I obviously would rather Jayson Tatum, and I know Jayson Tatum's going to get paid like that too. He's going to make like $350 million, maybe even more than that, maybe closer to $400 million. He's that type of player, and I love him. And without Jayson Tatum in the playoffs, I do not believe the Celtics would have even made it to the NBA Finals. Jaylen Brown is a guy that I just don't know if it works with Jayson Tatum. When it comes to the big game, one guy shows up, the other one doesn't. And when they do show up together, they're missing a piece. Now, they think that Porzingis is that piece offensively that could get into the paint and dominate in the paint, something everybody keeps saying that the Celtics didn't have problems doing all season long, which they beg to differ because they needed the rebounding and they needed the offense from a guy that could shoot around the perimeter as well as any one of those guys, and that could go to the free throw line and average, I think, almost 80% at the free throw line. By the way, Porzingis is a better free throw shooter than Jaylen Brown. And this is a guy that's making the biggest contract. He was offered and signed the Supermax biggest contract in NBA history, a guy that's shooting 76.2% at the free throw line. And everybody's going to say, well, what about LeBron James? He is not LeBron James. He is not LeBron James. And any stupid Boston fan out there, you heard it, I said it, any stupid Boston fan that thinks that he is, you're an idiot. I like Jaylen Brown. I finally became somewhat of a fan of his. When he was drafted, Mikey C was skeptical on him.
Mikey C's skeptical about everybody.
No, but not with the Celtics.
Fair enough.
Not with the Celtics. Mikey C always preached about the Celtics. Anything the Celtics did, he was very happy about. There was a couple of things that he didn't like. And I remember it. If I could go back on some of the things that he was complaining about, one of them was Jaylen Brown and the way they deciding to draft. I think he was number 3 in the draft.
Yes, he was.
And he said that he would have went somewhere else. I've spoken to Mikey C. He said that Jaylen Brown has surprised him, and I would say the same about me. I did not think Jaylen Brown was this good. But when you're making that kind of money, I'm not paying a guy $304 million if you're a 76.2% free throw shooter. That's a huge problem. You got to be at least 80%. The Celtics are a good team.
Right. They're a well-built team. And
Yes.
that's the big thing.
Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge.
Yeah, that's the thing that Brad Stevens is going to have to trust that entirety of his process in doing is now that you're investing $130 million combined in all three of those players in certain years, obviously it'll just distribute based on the actual length of the contract and per year what it'll be. It might even be more in certain years. But even so, you're going to have to trust in a lot of late-round hits from these Celtics players. And we've seen that. They've had some good bench players that have worked for them in this current system right now because I don't think right now Mazzulla has changed a lot from what Udoka did and what Brad Stevens did tremendously. It's a lot of the same types of offense, but at the same time, we've also seen Jaylen Brown have some flaws in his game that still haven't really been fixed in the longer term yet. Like Jeff was saying all throughout the playoffs, ball handling when the point guards had to take a break or the point guards had to be more defensive, he couldn't really do it as well. Sometimes he gets too aggressive with the three-point shooting, and that's a lot on the decision-making too. And when Tatum is not on his game and Brown is still not that player you want him to be, then the Celtics' depth is tested, and that's a lot harder to do against these other deep teams in the Eastern Conference.